Hey, good morning, guys. So I'm getting ready to sit down and do some work with hammerstones using chert nodules for hammerstones, specifically hornstone chert nodules for hammerstones on using it on hornstone. So hornstone has kind of a chalky cortex. I want to show you guys this real quick while I got it in my hand. This is a piece of hornstone I just came across in my pile there, and it is just gorgeous. Way too pretty to nap. Look at the colors in that thing. But anyhow, the cortex is it has a chalky cortex, and some of it is chalkier than others. Like some of it stays pretty solid all the way out to the edge. Hope you guys can see that. And then some of it's like super chalky, real soft stuff, so it'll almost crumble apart, and that makes for a good hammerstone because it grabs the edge in varying ways. The softer stuff will grab the edge more, and the harder ones won't. It'll grade all the way down to like a slick outer cortex, like this stuff, and that's just like a straight hard hammer. You'll be wanting to strike more above the edge with a really hard slick hammerstone like that. But I've got a few selected here and a couple pieces of rock to work on. I'll just be spalling them out and maybe make a few bifaces. Also, while I get you guys off topic here, I promised someone I would show this chair. This chair has been better on my back than anything, and it's just a folding. This one's called Adventure Ridge. My cousin let me use it when deer season was in. I was doing some filming, and I ended up leaving it in my truck, and I ended up with it, and he kind of donated it to me, and I had to rig it with some wire and stuff. It let go on me a week or two ago, and I went down. But other than that, if you get a new one, I'm sure it'll be fine. This thing's sat in the woods a while and had a rough life, but for whatever reason, the way that seat is shaped kind of like a saddle, it helps my back big time. It's like you're not struggling to lean over that bar in the front of your chair, so it's worth mentioning, I promise. I've even tried the little rolling chairs, like those mechanic deals, and they don't help me either. But this one here is real. I think I hit the stop button there. Okay, so let's get to it. Got a couple leather pads here. This is the hammerstone I was using the other day, and it really was working, well. It's got like a thinner cortex on it. You can tell it's not very thick. This should work out okay. This is a longer nodule. You can see they've taken a few flakes off of it in the past. Sometimes when they pass these up and they take test flakes off of them, there'll be something will be wrong inside of them. And I'm just wondering if how they can tell it, because they don't get in there far enough to see that bad area. They could be looking at signs on the surface too when they remove those flakes and that cortex. It's interesting though, because a lot of these pieces will have a bad spot. Man, that is some beautiful material there. Golly. Wow. This is a hard hammerstone. It's real slick. It's a chert nodule, but it's got a little fossil in it right there. But this is about as hard of a hammerstone as you could ask for. It's just a slick river cobble. Basically, it's a nodule, but here's another small one. This one is just seems a little bit more grabby. I'll have to still hit well above the edge. Now, if I switch and get a little bit softer one, I can dull that edge, and it's more like using copper. You can hit right on the edge with a softer hammerstone. But you don't want to have that inward as much. You want to be more down. You want to hit on a steep edge and hit down on it and glance that blow. They make the energy travel horizontally. This thing is really thick. It'd be nice if I could crack it from one end and just kind of try to get a big spall off long ways. That'll help me preserve width as well. This little area right here has got me kind of curious. It kind of looks like there might be a bad spot going in right there, but this thing feels awful heavy and solid. Usually if there's a punky area inside there, it'll make them just a little bit lighter. When you pick them up, you can tell the weight ain't quite right. This one's heavy, dense. Yeah, work my way into this because it's asking a little too much hitting on that cortex. Man, just barely touched that thing. Flake flew off there. Come on. There we go. Man, look at that stuff, guys. That is pretty. Soft. Man, that's nice. Alright, so now's my chance. I can try to get one probably on this corner first, and then that'll isolate this area right in here a little more. Just a small one down this side, and then I'll try to get another big one down this way. And I'll preserve this side for my piece. Although I probably should have did that a little differently. This was kind of more mass over here, and flatter over here, so I probably should have taken my spalls off down here and preserved the flat side, but yeah, we'll be okay, I think. Steepen it up just a little bit more. Wait a minute, I was going to take that over here, wasn't I? Yeah. Didn't go exactly as planned, but it'll work. That's the one I was after. I can make a really nice thin something out of that. Straight enough, thick enough. Perfect. And now I'm left with this. It does have kind of a little different color, a quartzy, kind of coarse area inside there, right there on the bottom. But I might give it some character too, as long as it don't get too messy in there. Okay, so I'm going to downsize my Hammerstone now to this one here. This is a really soft one. I feel like I should grind it down a little bit. Yeah, that's as soft as it gets. You guys can see how soft that is. Just under there is, looks like it's actually, it might be Sonora. Real pretty chert. These are what I call the cookies. Little cookie nodules. Alright, so now I'm really just focused on maybe getting this thing turned into a biface. If I get a few flakes that are big enough to use, good, but if not, oh well. Trying to bring this edge up this way. Usually the kind of the corners of the piece are good areas to do that. I think I've got an opportunity right here to clear that cortex and come back this way. Just using the edge of this Hammerstone here. Kind of took a secondary flake on my follow through there. Broke off. Let's see. So this kind of humped up over here. I really need to attack that. So my first notion would be to try to hit down on this right here on this edge. But that cortex, especially using this with that cortex, usually won't happen. You just sit there and beat on it all day long. I think that edge was hanging over a little bit there, so it broke away. So what I usually do is come this way first and take a small flake, and I'll help clear the outer edge of that cortex off and make it, give it a good enough contact to transfer that energy through there. More there. Let's see if I can turn this corner. Go ahead and flatten this off a little bit back here. Give me a little convexity. Start working into the square edge right here from the end. Go ahead and get another one there. You notice I'm not trying to shoot these flakes all the way across. I'm just trying to get a roughed out teardrop shaped preform that's has good convexity, or it has one flat side and tons of convexity on the other side. You know, I can still deal with it. That gives me a starting point once I get it there, you know, on every piece pretty much. So if you get too carried away too quick, sometimes you can get yourself in trouble trying to shoot these flakes all the way across and stuff. But as soon as I start getting it regularized, and where I want it, then I can really, you know, concentrate on thinning it. I'm going for that shape before I'm starting that thinning process, usually. Oh my goodness. That shirt goes to like a gray color right there, silicified. Okay, now got my nice steep angles. They're both facing the same side, but that's not terrible. But you want these nice steep angles on these preforms. That way, if you're using a hammerstone, definitely you want that. You don't want real shallow edges. Yeah. Okay, so I can start thinning this thing down now. I think I'll take most of my flakes on this side from this edge. Once I get it down, I might take a few from over here, but I might end up turning this edge to come back on this side. I think I can start from the corner back here and kind of take care of that right now. Really want to remove this hump. If I play my cards right, I could probably get a spall off there big enough to use. Man. Actually, yeah, there could be a little point in that. Flat and straight. Okay. My edge is getting low. I need to raise it back up. Probably start from up here and maybe get one nice. That worked out well. Working that cortex off there a little bit more. Okay. Go ahead and remove that mass right there. That'll help me get turned back up this way. There we go. Oh, wow. Man, look how pretty that is. Wowzers. That made that dog start howling over there across the road. Actually, let me save that flake. Maybe bird point in there. Man, that is some kind of piece of rock there. Got purple in it and pink, dark blue, white. So with this happening up here, I'm gonna try to preserve that if I can, as long as it keeps flaking through there okay. And I'll make this my tip. That way I'm not trying to notch through that quartzy stuff. Although that would be the best way to preserve most of it, is to make that my base. I'm going to try to see how far it goes through on this side before I make any too hasty a decision here. don't know if I've ever seen colors in a hornstone piece like that. It's almost a mauve. Is it mauve? I think that's mauve. Man, this stuff flakes so easy. Crazy. Okay, so I've got this edge dropped down to where it's giving me pretty good convexity up through here. I need to start taking from this other side. So I am going to make this my tip up here. Drop this edge up here. Try to get back this way. Doing that from a corner there. So I think I've got it low enough. You know what else you can do on these chert nodules is you can take a flake, remove a flake from an area, and use that for a striking surface. And depending on where you hit on the edge there, or where the edge hits the hammerstone, you can have varying hardnesses in all the way into the real hard slick stuff. Just a thought. But I'm going to try to do something with that right now. Come down and catch that thing with that harder material there and get that flake to go. Worked out pretty good. A lot of times if you got a little divot in your hammerstone, or there's like a little overhanging area, it'll grab the edge, it'll start working real well. That ain't gonna happen. Just kind of overstriking that edge and using loose support so it kind of drags that flake off there. I tightened up on my support there and made that one grab and go. Right on the edge. Alright, what do you want to be? There's no way I can set this piece down now. Blow the flint flakes out of my pop. Soda, whatever y'all call it. Man, this might turn into a rock to point video. Maybe I could just do an Adena or something out of it. I definitely don't want to be notching through that thing. But if I make this my base and do an Adena, I can preserve a lot of that, I think. I might even switch over to copper. I don't want to mess this thing up, and I am way out of practice with Hammerstone. So yeah, let me do that. Break out the modern stuff. can of soda over there. Excuse me. Yeah. Yep, that copper don't play around with this stuff. Man, it's soft. I gotta be careful. Took a bunch of that edge with that flake. Come out of there all goofy. I might have had a little crack in it right there. Shoo-wee, that's some high grade stuff. I'm just working this material off the back here, trying to get up into this color. Hitting really high platforms, driving that mass off there. Man, I would like to have about a semi-load of that stuff. Tell you what. That's some fine napping rock there. I gotta be careful though, because I got these big contours and these concaved areas and flat areas. If I shoot a flake in there, most likely it's gonna step. It's gonna run out of energy. I'm trying to go through too much mass, too thin a flake, because it's flat. Usually they'll break off. I need to downsize my bopper. Turn these edges back. Get back at this other side. Oh man, that flake did not want to go through that. He said, try again. Alrighty then. Let me come at you from the other side there, Mr. Quartz Pocket. It's too high. I gave that one the beans too. Gotcha. Haha. That is going to be one unique point. I hope that color's showing up in there. I can't really see it very good from where I am, but I noticed yesterday when I filmed with this side of the camera, it was this side of the phone, it was better on afterwards than what it looked like to me when I was filming it. So hopefully you guys can see that stuff, man. The Color just keeps getting better, but I'm afraid to take any more flakes in this pink stuff. I'm gonna have to. I believe. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, so let's pull it together here. Okay. Nope. There's a step fracture right off the edge right here. But if I put a little surface support on there and pull back on it, I think I can get it to go if I hit up high enough on the edge. See, it undercut it and it pulled it right off there. Same thing with that one there. I was able to clear that damage off the edge. Flake did okay, but it could have done a little better. I didn't have enough energy going into that area. It rolled out right there. These shadows are getting me right here. Oh, it's that tree. That tree's getting me. Nothing. It was wanting to go this way, and it wasn't wanting to go through that mass right there. It ended up stepping. That's what was holding that flake up from going right there. Go ahead and sacrifice some of my edge just to get it all turned back this way. I'll remove some of this mass from underneath here. That way I can preserve this material here. That was ugly. Ooh, God, get your finger on that tip, Brad. What are you doing? I totally should have broke right there. It didn't. Okay. This thing's starting to shape up pretty good. Maybe I'll just do a leaf blade out of it, like a willow leaf blade. I found one made out of hornstone around here when I was younger. Real nice one. It's about that size too. Just a thin, look like a willow leaf, bi-pointed blade. Made out of hornstone. It was real black hornstone though. Probably more something along these lines. This stuff here is, I don't know what it is. Freaking killer is what it is. This might be the first keeper I've made in a while. I'm just going to do an Adina out of it. These shadows are getting really bad. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let's see if I can do a little pressure work on it. Actually, this is getting way too long. Let me stop this one here, and I'll do a part 2 on this hornstone Adena. So that's a pretty one. I'll tell you what, the way that color ended up in that thing. Pretty nice. So I guess I'll catch you on part 2, and thanks for watching as always.